Charleston County Council member Herb Sass tells me he will run for re-election for a seat on County Council. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with the council member one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores.
Well, Herb, it is so good to meet you, man.
Good to be here.
I appreciate this.
In person.
Yes, sir.
I've seen you so many times.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, nice to finally get a chance to really get to know you.
Likewise.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, yeah, man. And I'll tell you what else sounds good. Hiya Todd. She's being returned. Hiya Todd.
Oh, gosh.
Gosh, that's amazing news.
That was the best thing I could have dreamed of waking up this morning. I didn't know until this morning.
Wow.
And what a fantastic ending to that.
Yeah, thank God.
Just so sorry about her mother
Yeah.
getting beat up. And that's just a terrible story, but at least that one ended a lot better than it could have.
Yeah.
That was the best ending we could have hoped for.
Oh,
And we're so fortunate. And I think her father went over to get her. And I think I heard on the radio this morning.
Right.
So at least there's a good ending to that.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God. And I hope she's okay.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, the mom.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
'Cause apparently she's got 3 or 4 other kids. You know, she's got a full family to take care of.
And they just moved to Johns Island recently.
Oh boy. That's a real tragedy.
Yeah, very much.
Thank goodness the whole neighborhood was really active. I have an employee that lives right around the corner.
Okay.
And, you know, she told me about the helicopters and everybody trying to help.
Right.
You know, the whole neighborhood was really out there trying to help them. I mean, what a great story that is. I mean, Charleston, we've been through some real tragedies, but, you know, people work together.
Yes.
You know, thank goodness.
Yeah, you're right with that.
Thank goodness.
Absolutely. Thank God for that. And you know, I just mentioned to you off camera, but I've interviewed everybody except for you and Anna Johnson on Charleston County Council. And Darby was my teacher at Burke.
Right.
But who is Herb Sass?
Who is Herb Sass? Well, I don't know. He's a fellow who grew up here and went to Citadel and started his own business.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for about 30 years. I've been appraising. I've been in the real estate business for 40 years. Wow. I've been appraising for about 35. And, you know, I was interested in appraising, and I was interested in what was happening to the appraisal world in a regulatory sense. So I got involved in that end and did that for a number of years. Was on the appraisers board and I was chairman of that, and then Appraisal Institute, and which I think is real important. And then all of a sudden there was this opening on county council, and I decided that I would see if I could lend a little real estate expertise and business expertise to what's going on. And that's really kind of one of the things that got me going. And plus, you know, as a citizen, you read the paper and you watch the news and you pay attention to what's going on. And there were real estate transactions and things going on that you know, that I thought maybe I could help a little bit with.
Yeah.
And it was some of my experience.
Experiences, wow. And obviously you had a runoff election on March 22nd, 2011.
Right.
And you won that.
I was very lucky. Had a 4-person primary.
Right, remember that.
And I came in second, and Mark Smith was way ahead of me. And I think they thought they pretty much had it in the bag, and we went right to work, and we decided we were going to go 100 miles an hour for 2 weeks and see what we could do. And we managed to get enough votes to win, just barely. I mean, about 50 votes.
Wow.
And but it was a very interesting race. Met some fantastic people. I had a lot of fantastic people helping me.
Right.
That was the best thing about it. The best thing about campaigning is meeting people.
Right.
And really knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And meeting people. And people are so nice. Yeah. And they want to talk, and they want to tell you what they think. If you give them an opportunity, they will tell you what they think.
Right.
But they got to get the opportunity. And that's one of the things that I think is so important in this process, is that we need to be as transparent as we can, but people need to be heard. People need to be heard. Their voices need to be heard. And when they have a question or they have something they need to talk about, they need to call their representatives, whether it's the town of Mount Pleasant or the city of Charleston or county council. They need to call their representatives. And we're out there. We try to help. We get plenty of calls, believe me, and emails, and we do what we can. We try to help them any way we can.
What are the people hearing right now? You have so many issues from Johns Island to 526.
We have a lot on our plate right now. We've got, you know, Johns Island. Johns Island shouldn't be a surprise because the city of Charleston occupies about 20% of Johns Island. And it's been that way since about 2007 when they passed that plan, and then for some reason they didn't implement the plan. I don't know why, and maybe that's because it was going to cost a lot of money. I have no idea why they didn't implement it, but that plan's been around for a good while, and people are moving over there. I know that our building permit people at the county, we have more building permits and stormwater things that we're checking on over there as a result of building on Wadmalaw and Johns Island than any other area in the county. So it's growing, and the traffic, the access over there, it hasn't gotten any better. It's the same as it was. We're trying to finish that third lane over there now on Maybank Highway, which has taken forever for us to get the permit approvals to do. And that's under construction now. That'll be finished hopefully in less than a year, because they're having to do it at night. They can't do it during the day. There's so much traffic, they have to do that work at night. Most of the work's being done at night, and that should help. And then hopefully we can build this pitchfork, which ought to really help. And like I said, I have 2 employees that live on Johns Island, and they sit in that traffic every day, and they got to go home to their families, and it's a tough thing for everybody. But we've always had Charleston, because we have islands. When I was younger, it was trouble getting to Mount Pleasant. The traffic to the bridge of Mount Pleasant. The other one was the Wapu Bridge. That was the only one to James Island. And there was always backups on both sides on both of those bridges. And then we got the second bridge, and then we got the new bridge over to Mount Pleasant, which is beautiful. And then we've got the connector going to Johns Island now, and that certainly opens up a lot. But we don't have, the connector that goes to James Island. But we haven't gotten another way on or off Johns Island, and the population over there is growing, and they want better access. The people that live there, they're fighting in traffic every day. They're sitting in traffic all the time. I talked to a fellow last night that it used to be 30 minutes for him to get to work. Now it's an hour.
Wow.
And that's a lot of time out of your day.
That brings me to my next question. Is 526 dead or alive in your mind?
That's a 50-50 question. Right now, it's not going anywhere because the infrastructure bank is not really working with us. We're trying to work with them. We're part of a 3-way agreement. The infrastructure bank, the DOT, and Charleston County. And we're all supposed to be partners in this deal. And 2 of the partners are working together, and the third partner is not really working with us. They're just dictating to us the way they think things should be. And we don't know if we're going to be able to resolve that or not. And some people are happy with that because in their mind it's not getting built, and the longer it takes to build it, the more expensive it's going to be, and that makes it harder to get it built in the future. The further out it goes, the more expensive it's going to be. We know that.
And obviously, you're getting some headway, I believe, with the McConnell expansion.
We are. McConnell Parkway will be expanded to 3 lanes. That's going to help.
Okay.
The existing, but there's nothing, I don't think there's anything the county's involved in that's going north of Bees Ferry. I think that's all the city's involved in that. That traffic circle, it belongs to the city, and also any road that extends further to Long Savannah and Village Green is going to be, the county's not involved in that. That's the city of Charleston. But it's a big issue. We haven't had a road built in or out of Charleston since the interstate. And our population has grown how much? Probably since 1965? A whole lot. It's probably, I don't know what the population was in 1965, but I bet it was less than half of what we are now.
Wow.
In 1965 for Charleston County. We need more in and out. We need another lane, another way of traffic in or out of town if we could get it. I don't know where it ought to be. I'm not advocating for any particular place, but it would sure be great if we could get another way in and out of town. Can't keep widening I-26. It's already 4 lanes wide at closer to town end. Don't know if it can be widened anymore, but of course 26 really needs to be 3-laned all the way to Columbia, and parts of that are getting done now. And of course 95 is in awful shape. It's in worse shape than 26. So I don't know, and we're gonna have a lot more truck traffic, unfortunately, when this new terminal opens.
Right.
I don't know how many of those trucks are gonna get on rail. A lot of them are gonna go on rail, and that creates a problem too, because the railroad cars, you know, make people stop. They have to stop for the railroad trains to go by. I was stopped by 2 trains 2 days in a row last week, with, you know, rail traffic coming in, out of the port. But it's one of the things about the port, I think they're supposed to build some overpasses, railroad overpasses. That was part of the deal to open the port. And I'm concerned because they haven't started building it yet. And they want to open the port in a couple of years. And they've got to start building those if they're going to get built. You know, I mean, it takes a long time to build one of those things, a railroad overpass.
Where are these state senators, state representatives, United States congressmen? Where are these people in this discussion?
It's a state problem, I guess, really. I'm not sure that our House of Representatives, people in our state, and our senators really, you know, U.S. senators are really responsible for that, unless they can bring home some money to help build those. But I think it's really a state problem, because the port is part of the state, and the port is so important to the whole state. Right. And so much employment is provided by the port, and so much investment, so much business comes in and out of the port. And what a lot of people don't understand is that we get 100% of the port traffic. It all comes in and out of here. And a lot of it goes to Greenville. A lot of it goes to BMW. I mean, we get a train, you know, 4, 5, 6 nights a week from BMW with 700 or 800 cars on it, which is awesome. Right. And they offload them there at Columbus Street, and you see those roll-on ships come up, and they fill them up with cars and they sail off. Right. And it's a heck of a business. And I think Volvo will have some of that too. But I think Volvo is trying to put a lot of stuff on rail, and a lot of the stuff they're building here, they're planning on selling here. Okay. So it all won't have to go overseas. Some of it will go inland. And Volvo's going to be huge. Mm-hmm.
The next Charleston County Council meeting, what is that big issue that sticks out in your mind?
I can't think of anything. Right now we're dealing with a lot of zoning issues. Right. Zoning is so tough, because zoning affects people's lives, it affects their neighbors, especially if it's something that affects your neighborhood. Right. And zoning is one of the most difficult things we deal with, is trying to work out, and we've had some real luck recently with some of the tough issues, trying to get the people that live in the neighborhood and the people that are trying to change the zoning, or the people that own the property that want to do something with their property, to get them to work together. And we had a big issue on Bohicket Road with that, and we finally were able to get to both sides to sit down and talk. And we've noticed lately that we've had better success when we tell them they need to sit down and talk. Y'all need to work together to work this out, to make something that's acceptable to everybody. And a lot of times we end up with a real compromise because nobody's happy. You know, when both sides are unhappy with something, maybe that's a real compromise. Okay. If one side feels like they won the game, the other side didn't, then maybe that wasn't a real compromise. But we've had some real luck recently with both sides working together to try to make the neighborhood happy and make the owner of the property happy.
I went back on the Charleston County Council's page, and I looked at your term, and it expires this December 31st, 2018.
Yes, sir.
What is the future of Charleston County Council in your mind?
Well, you mean for me?
Yes, sir.
I'm planning on running again. I'm running for a third term, and we have a lot of things we want to get finished. We did. The county voted for the library referendum. Right. You know, we want to get the libraries built and online, and then get the other libraries renovated. The renovation of the existing libraries will follow after the new libraries are built. And you know, this is a really big issue. The citizens of Charleston County voted overwhelmingly to pay for the library, And I think we certainly did the right thing, letting the citizens make that decision and not us making that decision. Our decision was to put it on the referendum so that they could decide.
Okay.
And that's always, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great way to do things. You can't do everything we do that way. But that was a $108 million price tag on that deal, $108 million. And I think the citizens should have been involved in that, and they did they made the decision. I hope it was the right decision. I think it was.
And when you take off your real estate and political hat, who is Herb Sass personally?
I'm just a person who lives here and loves being outside.
Yes.
I love the water.
Yeah.
I love fishing. I don't do much.
Okay.
I like to fish. I like crabbing. I like oysters. I used to hunt a lot.
What?
I don't hunt much anymore.
Okay.
Just don't have time. My business and my county
Right.
take a lot of time. And before that, I was fortunate to spend a lot of time with my kids, coaching and going to travel league games.
Right.
And I have two wonderful daughters, and they both played a lot of sports
Right.
and had a lot of fun. And they were fortunate to grow up, and they're both doing well. One worked with me, and one's in nursing school.
Wow.
So I'm real happy about that. It took a while, but we got them. They're doing the right thing, and I'm real fortunate. I live in Old Hopco in Mount Pleasant, which is close to the bridge.
Right.
And have a boat ramp in the neighborhood and a swimming pool where we grew. And it's fun place for kids to grow up.
Oh yes, indeed.
We enjoyed living there. We have a lot of friends there. It's close to town, easy to get anywhere you want to go to.
That is true.
I love Mount Pleasant. I've been in Mount Pleasant almost 100% since I graduated from the Citadel.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful place. It's grown tremendously. I am so concerned. My biggest concern right now is what's our future. We have worked really hard, and we didn't, but the earlier councils did, and Dickey was on those councils.
Right.
To get the Greenbelt program going.
Sure.
And Dickey we really looked at Dickey because he had a lot to do with getting that done. He was on that committee before he was on the council.
Right.
And so he helped to shape that. And the first Greenbelt program we think was pretty successful. We didn't preserve as much property as we'd like. We ended up buying more property in fee simple and owning it than we did in just getting easements. But we did save and preserve a tremendous amount of area that will forever be green and will not be developed. And so we'll have a green belt around most of Charleston.
Right.
And that will be a lasting legacy forever. Because that property, once, properties that are conserved like that, you can't change the use. So they will be preserved, and we've been fortunate. We've had a lot of local people that were willing to give up the right to do that, and they may have gotten a tax break for that, or they may have gotten paid some money for it, but that's in perpetuity. When you decide to say you will give up the right to develop part of your property forever, that means the people behind you can't do it, and the people behind them can't do it. So it runs with the land, and that's something I think that people will have a good feeling about in the future. Now that I think is important. What concerns me now is growth. We have an urban growth boundary.
Okay.
And I've worked hard to keep the urban growth boundary where it is, because I think that we need to respect the country. We need to respect our heritage. We need to respect the quality of life we have. And part of that is not becoming a paved parking lot between here and Georgetown or between here and Savannah. We need to keep some rural. We have to keep some rural area. We got to keep some green out there. I think it's very important. Our quality of life is what I think is, there's so much traffic now. That's definitely affecting our quality of life. Getting to the beach, getting to North Charleston. There's so much more traffic. We've got to do something to try to help the traffic. And whether it's CARTA or the bus rapid transit, we've got to do something to help people move around better.
Stay tuned. Well, Herb Sass, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Well, thank you. It's really good to see you.
Likewise.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Enjoyed being here.
Likewise. I appreciate it.